Christian friendship.
Like a mentorship.
Oh. Yeah, so I
oh, this is so bad.
Finish that thought, Rob.
We can't presume on that. We have to start from the place of utter humility and discipleship, and we never actually leave the place of humility and discipleship.
Oh, we leave it all the time.
The Almighty God.
All the time.
But even so, He invites us into intimacy, into friendship. And so...
Should leave it. I'm just saying. It happens. We do it.
Welcome back to the Men's Show, everyone.
Hey.
I am Nick.
I am John Mark Grodi.
I am called Rob.
I am he who is named Kevin. Jory.
Okay.
It just got weirder as it went
Just
to that
showing
side of
us
the room.
up, John Mark. Just showing us up. Man, we're going to have some great conversations today. Before we dive into it, I just want to make sure that you know what John Mark is about to tell you.
Hey, you should go to themenshow.com. I need my, oh, there it is. The League of the Ordinary Gentlemen and Ladies Are Invited To is the name of our patron community. If you like what we're doing on this show, this digital monthly men's night that you can be part of, you can be part of the live stream, or you can watch the individual episodes. But if you want to help support the show and, you know, participate in the live stream, get some of the fancy behind the scenes stuff that we're going to have in that community, then check out themenshow.com, where you can support the show at different levels. There's some cool perks there. Make this possible. This League of Ordinary Gentlemen and Ladies Are Invited To.
Indeed they are. Indeed they are. And they will come. Build it and they will come. We built it and the ladies will come.
Yes.
To the show.
We're still waiting.
It's their favorite show.
You're a good patriarch, Nick.
And then the last thing you need to know is about the Awaken app. Visit theawakenapp.io on your computer or browse, I guess the computer browser, iPad, whatever you got.
Okay, Grandpa.
Or on your telephone, dial the rotary. Yeah, that's right. Bring.
Yeah, what's the number for that?
Yeah.
We need people calling into the show, actually. Call this number right here.
Collins, yeah.
Anyways, theawakenapp.io or in the App Store, Google Play Store. Check it out. We have a great time there. Lots of great stuff from Awaken happening, including individual groups for each of the shows, like this one. Check it out. That's all I got for you. Kevin, bring us in, baby.
All right, so for our topic right now, we are going to be diving into discipleship, modern discipleship, male friendship.
Gross.
I guess it doesn't have to be a male, but what do you know, how do you do it? How do you don't do it? And what kind of should you be having breakfast? Like, should you have a weekly breakfast, maybe with a group of guys and talk about these types of topics? But I personally, I feel like I've been discipled a lot by you guys, and we have a really great Catholic community around here of really, really strong families. Where I would struggle on it is am I ready to disciple someone else? Have I gotten rid of enough heresies where I am not, spreading misinformation? So what do you guys think?
I'll take that. No.
No? Okay. All right, guys. See you later.
Why haven't you been coming to men's group? Where have you been, Kevin?
You guys are going to do this on air.
You didn't
Where
know
have you
this,
been?
but Nick, Pete, and I have our own men's group.
There are people
you
in...
really?
Wait,
We
hold
have a
on.
schismatic men's
There are
group.
people...
What? Are you kidding?
Hold on.
Right
Hold on.
now.
I have met people
Pete, I'm sorry,
who
man.
are in men's group with this guy, Nick, and Kevin, and they're like, yeah, and I've never actually seen Nick Dillatore. He's in my
no idea
group,
who I am.
never actually met the man.
Oh my gosh. I'm not gonna. I plead the fifth. Also,
Discipleship.
we got
What
a new
is
comment.
discipleship?
We got
Go.
a new comment in the videos.
Yes.
It's from one Rob Holler. Nick, why are you the way you are?
Wait a minute. Hey, focus here.
Go on.
Okay. Discipleship.
Sorry.
What is discipleship?
Wait, Rob, did you actually?
Oh, I would love a
Wanna-
definition. Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Well, what is to disciple? John Mark, I'm looking directly at you.
Gosh.
Wait. What is the distinction between the word disciple and apostle, or are they explicitly synonyms?
Well, apostle means sent, one who is sent, right?
Right.
Obviously.
But are they? Because
I mean, the
they're
12 apostles were referred to as the 12 apostles for a reason.
because they were sent.
Was that?
Are we not all sent?
Yes.
So
So.
But we're
mean,
all
the church is
humans, so we
apostolic.
don't just call them the humans.
we had the reading
because it's a commonality.
That's a good point.
Doesn't mean it's the same.
that's right. We know that already.
It's just-
I don't know. I'm sure there's
to be honest with you,
someone in the comments tell us the
all of the years that I've been in ministry, all of the times I've spoken in front of hundreds or thousands of people, I approach the word, like when I have to go say the 12, and
you flinch.
I flinch because I'm like, wait, shoot,
Which one?
is it disciples or apostles? Every single time.
Yeah.
What is that? Why?
I don't know.
Well,
Someone
disciples are like, are they not those who are taught and those who follow?
Yes, that's accurate.
And apostles are those who
they
are...
do mean something different, but I wanted to put it out there because we refer to these guys almost interchangeably, but they aren't the same word.
They are different words.
Cool. We've established that. Sweet.
Cool, guys. All right, so
Disciple and apostle. Disciple is spelled D-I-S-C-I-P-L-E.
Oh my gosh.
Discipline, disciple. Is there something
Apostle.
there? Etymology? Yeah.
Different word.
Yes, there is.
Starts with an A.
awesome.
Don't
All
let
right.
me finish it.
So we are called to be disciples, but there's this notion in Christianity of the kind of relationship that we ought to have with one another and with our children and with new people who are new to the faith. Is a relationship of discipleship, and I guess the way I always think of it is just in terms of Christ's example himself. That you can get on a stage and speak to a whole crap load of people, but you can only disciple so many.
Yes.
Like it comes down to he had an actual relationship with a smaller group of men that he got to know them. He was part of their lives, and I mean there were some women who were part of his close band too. But that there was a relationship of sharing the faith, of living life together, of encouraging, of iron sharpening iron. I think that's the key that we're trying to get to here, is that we have lots of relationships of faith in the world today. Like we live in families, we're in communities, we're at parishes with fellow parishioners and the priests and the people. But a discipleship relationship where we're really on the same road together and we're challenging each other and helping each other along this road to walk with Christ. Sometimes we struggle to with the question of, are we doing that the way it ought to be done? What does it look like? What should it look like?
I have a quick question too. So there is the person doing the discipling, and then there is the person who is receiving the discipleship.
I feel like as, in our modern culture, like none of us stand in the position of Christ. None of us are wholly above the other.
Right.
And I
Right.
feel like in that respect, like there's always mutuality.
Mm-hmm.
Even
yeah,
like
yeah.
in my men's group, like I can't say that any particular person is there just learning.
Right.
There is mutuality there. Now there are also relationships where, clearly, you're bringing someone into Christian friendship.
Like a mentorship.
Oh.
Yeah. So I
Oh, this is so bad.
finish that thought, Rob.
Yeah, keep going, man.
I can't think of anything else.
Okay,
after
because
Kevin
I
said
actually,
that.
if that's where you're going to leave it, I think I disagree. At the notion that that mutuality is always at play.
Oh, then I heartily disagree with you.
I disagree with your disagreement.
Name a relationship.
I don't know what I think.
Yeah,
I'm
every relation.
Name a positive relationship where there's not a mutuality. To
No,
that
let me qualify what I'm
What is a
saying.
mutuality?
Well, where both parties are benefiting from each other's
Gotcha, okay.
interaction in a way that's similar to
Not even similar. Even I look at my own son, who I start to tell truths
Okay,
in the face and things.
okay, but-
we are not on the same level.
Of
we
course,
don't have the
but
same
that's-
maturity. But
Yeah.
like the blessing in my life, and that's true of anybody at any age, be they old or young.
Yeah.
They have something to offer and something
I
to
just
give.
don't know what that distinction is worth then, because that's of course true of literally any relationship, a teacher and their student. Like to me, what Kevin was asking about the word disciple and like what do you call the person receiving that discipleship, and then that's kind of where you stepped in and you were starting to
Okay.
say that stuff.
I had a very specific next thing I was going to say though.
Okay.
So like that person being discipled, do they have to accept like some part of it before they can be discipled? Because what I find a lot of times is I have a lot of secular friends.
Mm-hmm.
I have some Protestant friends. Sometimes questions arise like, you guys think this, or the church did that really stupid thing. What do you think about that?
Oh, yeah.
Like those types of things happen. So I would say, like, in that instance, there's no discipleship happening. It's almost like apologetics, maybe, but a very rudimentary one that has a relationship element. But like the person being discipled, how much do they need to, like, do they need to accept something? I think probably. And then how much do they need to accept?
Okay.
Something like along those lines. I'm really interested in that.
60%.
Okay, so I'm gonna be a good Thomist.
So
when in
a
doubt,
solid D.
a good Thomist here. When in doubt, make a distinction. Okay, so there is a distinction between two aspects or two types of discipleship we might talk about here. I think it's important though that that one we were talking about and you were sort of dismissing.
Well, I was misunderstanding what Rob was saying.
Sure. But what we're talking about, this sort of mutuality that we should always have in conversation, in relationship.
Yeah.
That should be the baseline, because that's really just living out humility. You know, I think I like the way Jordan Peterson put it in his book. It was like always always assume the person you're talking to has something to teach you or something like that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
It's a quality of how you listen, how you interact with other people. It's from a place of humility. Now, it's from that baseline. If we're all trying to strive for that kind of mutuality, and as Christians, that kind of mutual discipleship, then it's from that place. Then I think those who have the skills to teach, or those who are called into ministry like a priest, are able to, again, even within that humility, take a place of more specific teaching, and then those who want to be discipled, who need to be discipled in a more specific way, can take that place too. But again, both of those positions, for them to be really fruitful, the teacher and the taught in a class or in a whatever the scenario, both still have to come from that place of humility and mutuality. So I think that there's a general discipleship amongst all Christians that we should be practicing, in that we should all recognize our common call to holiness, that none of us can opt out from this.
Share like a bunch of like Christian memes, like we're all in the same community.
Every day. You have to share them all the time.
That's the baseline.
You have to set the baseline of radicality and humility. We're called to this, and we need to challenge each other to this. We need to learn from each other. But then building on that, then you might want to seek out a spiritual director. Or it's great to, when you, like as men especially, it's great when you find a real manly priest, who can challenge you as a father and a brother in the faith, and can teach you and guide,
or an older brother along, someone who's more mature in their Christian faith.
Yeah.
Or a younger brother.
In my own example, I was very explicitly discipled by Andrew Reinhardt very early in my journey.
Haven't we all at some point been?
Well, but like explicitly, like. And maybe that's what you mean.
I was joking.
Did you say I am a follower of Andrew?
I would still say that. I would say that to this day. If you don't know who Andrew is, go watch the Awakened Catholic show called Physically Spiritual.
Yes.
But anyways, no, but like we would meet. He would meet with me once a week at least over breakfast, and he would pick out books that we were going to read through together. So like I got just inundated with the beauty of our faith, with theology books, with philosophy books, and he would just accompany me through the journey of diving into the principles that were being conveyed there, and talk through them with me every time we met, at least that once a week, if not more. And it was so formative for me, both in understanding what Christianity could look like, and also just how to understand the faith. And if there's anyone that I want to understand the faith like, it's Andrew.
Yeah.
Because dang, that dude. But that was such a powerful sacrifice that he made, because I was just some random jerk that was still trying to not be a terrible person. I'm still trying to not be a terrible person, but like it was a lot harder back then. And he took the time out of what was probably a busy schedule to sit with me that frequently, with that much, as Matthew Kelly calls it, carefree timelessness. And he was just with me, journeying with me, guiding me with whatever wisdom he had. That's discipleship.
Yeah, that's good.
We should have had Andrew on.
Yeah, I tried.
We'd make him blush. So here's a practical question. I mean, like there's two practical things. Let's make sure we discuss. And the first one would be, especially if we're all trying to strive for that baseline humility, well, then an outgrowth of that is to desire to be discipled, Like
Yeah.
we should it's a healthy,
that's what I was trying
holy
to
thing,
you need to
for us to desire
yeah.
elder brothers and sisters and fathers and mothers in the faith. And so practically speaking, like how do you seek that out? Because you also, I mean, this is something they caution you in like seeking out a spiritual director, which is a very specific kind of relationship that you don't just like pick some random dude off the street. But so too, I think with this more general discipleship, like what do we do? If we should desire that, so what do we do with that desire? How do we find those people? And
you kind of said it first. It has to start in humility, because if you're like a baby Christian and you're like, there's something here, I need to seek the wisdom of others, then you have to start with humility, because you're going to go into all of these places that you're unfamiliar with. And if you go with a sense of pride, then you're going to walk right back out. But you have to go in there knowing you are going to fail and you're going to look like an idiot. And you just have to be okay with it. And that's why I'm on the show right now. I'm ready for it. Let's do it.
And you mentioned spiritual direction. Like a lot of times people don't really get into the arena of speaking about that until they're further into the journey.
Right.
And that is, to me, that persistence to acknowledge that humility, that like I need continued guidance, I need continued direction. And maybe beyond that initial journeying, beyond that initial accompaniment and discipleship, now I'm ready to go deeper with, maybe we'll use another term that some of the world might understand, like I need a guru or something, like I need someone that's going to guide me deeper into this.
The love guru is what you're talking about.
Yeah. But so something I often think about here is that this was sort of a chicken and the egg thing that happens in our church, where we're all involved in ministries in different ways. And so there's people we want to help, we want to disciple, but like we can't give what we don't have.
Right.
So we have to be solid in our faith, solid in our prayer life, but we also have to be discipled. And that's where I think too, again, even if certainly seek out the saints in your life, seek out those people who really know the Lord, and allow yourself to be challenged by them a little bit. But I think even there too, like with Andrew, I think a good example where I too have felt discipled by him, over the years and different. I knew him back in seminary. But I think if he were here, I think he would say that even amongst us, we all look up to him as an older brother in the faith, but that there's a mutuality to that discipleship.
100%, yeah.
In that it's not a merely one way, that we challenge him too by our trying to live out the life.
Well, in the context of my relationship with him, and which is different because I wasn't in seminary with him and whatever. Sure. In the context of our relationship, it evolved into that. It absolutely was not that at the beginning, because I needed to humble myself and meet with someone with whom I was not a peer in my psyche. Like I needed someone that I was looking up to absorb wisdom, to absorb like, hey, what does this whole new life look like? Teach me, because I want to be a blank slate. I needed to be in a position where I wasn't trying to give him something. And so that was unique in our relationship, different than what you experienced with him. But I also feel like where I was at and the humility I needed to have, like that was crucial. But it evolved into that type of friendship. We were in each other's wedding parties, like we became very, very close, and still are to this day, thanks be to God. He hasn't gotten sick of me yet, but like, well, maybe he has it. He's still like, his reward will be in heaven.
Put it in the comments there, Andrew.
Yeah. So anyways, what you're saying is
Andrew's
true.
not on.
I just don't think it's always true
Sure.
at all stages of every relationship.
Well, one thing I was going to say here too is that the person who's doing the discipling, they have something in common with a teacher, as we might think of the teacher. But we're talking also about something that's more than just a teacher, because particularly we're talking about the faith, and this is true I think for all teachers too. But let's talk about it in the context of the faith. A disciple can't merely teach; they have to actually be a living embodiment of what they're trying to express.
And I would also go and say it's deeply tied into a resulting friendship. I think it has to be, and I think that's very much, it's like what Christ did. It was the result of it. There's no greater love than this, than to lay down your life for your friends, for one's friend. Now, he started as simply like more rabbi, in that position of teacher, rabbi, but like I call you friends.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point.
So I do, like, to me, like, while you start there, like, that mutuality, like, I think it is, like, the fruit and the fullness of discipleship may be friendship and communion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's even, again, in a pale imitation of that. I mean, that's this amazingly scandalous grace that the Lord gives us, that we start from a place of perhaps servile fear of not wanting to go to hell or wanting to get out of the sins that are ruining our lives, but he invites us into divine friendship, and that's what we're called to. We can't presume on that. We have to start from the place of utter humility and discipleship, and we never actually leave the place of humility and discipleship.
Oh, we leave it all the time.
Almighty God.
All the time.
But even so, he invites us into intimacy, into friendship. And so
should leave it. I'm just saying.
it happens.
We do it.
Yeah, all beautiful, good stuff, guys. So let's end with trying to address the other part of Kevin's question, which you kind of grazed on there, Rob. How do we know when we are ready to begin to disciple others?
Are you ready? Are you a Christian? Do you have friends? I don't know. I feel like entering into a relationship with other people, like making the strong distinction of, like, I'm your teacher, I'm being taught by you. In
Is
the
there
world
a
where
difference between discipleship and fraternal correction and just journeying? Because I can say already, I can say with Kevin, because I know he's asking this question not as like some, theoretical example. He's asking because he's curious for himself.
Yeah.
And I can say with absolute certainty, Kevin, there have been moments that in a spirit of loving me, you have shared with me some thoughts that really helped me make the right call at a certain moment.
Nick, you should have breakfast right now.
That kind of thing, sure.
You need to fuel yourself.
And so
for this
I'm only
huge day.
highlighting this because, to Rob's point, like you're already doing that.
Yeah.
But it's not to discount, like, we have, like, pastors, we have teachers in our lives.
Right.
We have people who we need to look to with deference, and learn from them. But, like, I don't know. I feel like we can't overcomplicate, like, being in relationship with other people and calling them on in the Christian life.
Yeah.
And saying, like, I have, I need to have, like, these 3 people
Here are my
under
flock.
me.
Yeah. Again, it always, like, every episode here, it just comes to that humility is ultimately the thing. To be humble means to be a person who is striving to accept the truth of who God is and who I am. Mm-hmm. And the more that I proceed along the path of humility, I don't want to see myself as anything but what I am. Well, then I'm able to act rightly in any of the relationships in my life. If I have something to give, I give it. If I have something to receive in this relationship, I receive it. I'm not trying to play a role that is inappropriate for me, nor am I stepping back and being self-deprecating when I should offer a word of encouragement or a word of correction. So again, humility is always the keystone here, because that allows you to really be objective and ready for all the opportunities to learn, the opportunities to challenge and teach.
Yeah.
And I think that, kind of connected to our episode, the previous conversation we had, like remaining in a state of grace and remaining in the sacramental life and being in touch, in a constant interaction with the Holy Spirit, like turning to if you're feeling led to say something, turn to the Holy Spirit first. Say, Spirit, guide me. Like, is what I'm feeling right now the right thing to say? Like that.
So I should just never talk.
No, that's not what I'm saying. No, but I think that's so important, because then we're at least operating from enough humility that we are conscious that we could be wrong about something, and we're trying to allow God to move us to know that or not.
Just like here, like we're just dudes trying to be the best Catholics we can be, and we're trying to help each other on the way.
Some of us are doing a better job than others.
Rob, won't name names here.
Browns are up 7-0. Sorry.
Someone's recording.
What are you guys saying?
All right, this has been awesome, guys. Again, if you're enjoying these conversations, John Mark, tell them what they can do.
Yeah, well, again, we're I'm not going to say sin it again. We're a community of disciples, who are just trying to help each other follow our Lord Jesus Christ and be the men and women he's called us to be. And so if you are a man or you are a woman, come join the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. And ladies are invited too at themenshow.com, where you can get access to the live streams, the full recordings, other fancy stuff. And again, depending on the level you can see makes sense in your budget to support the show, we got some cool special stuff for you.
Indeed.
But I can't remember what it was. I haven't read the page.
Indeed.
Do we though?
And make sure to get the app.
We do.
The
Have
Awaken
we
app.
ordered it?
We can't do the
we have
Father
anything?
Jeff shirt anymore, the limited edition, because
We could.
Yeah. I wonder if he'd allow us to.
He would.
Special
Or he
edition.
won't.
The
We'll ask him.
Nick, say what you said.
Awaken app.io or your Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
Yes. Or your
Awaken.
rotary phone.
Or your All right.
On your car phone.
what's the
Dial star
number we-
67.
What's the number we text?
Star 67. Yep.
Oh my gosh. Cool. All right.
Send us a fax.
Yes. Awaken Catholic proudly does not have a fax number.
There was a wild colonial boy, Jack Duggan was his name. He was born and raised in Ireland, in a place called Castlemaine. He was his father's only son, his mother's pride and joy. We're back on it. And clearly did his parents love the wild colonial boy. Ethan's carrying us in there.
Does Ethan know this?
At the early age of 16 years, he left his native home. And to Australia's sunny shore, he was inclined to roam. I lost it. He robbed the rich, he helped the poor, he shot James McAvoy. A terror to Australia was the wild colonial